Hi guys. Just lots of internet technical difficulties with everything. So I thought I would just make a video and talk to you guys about this next project. Thought maybe it'd be easier that way. We can at least get some forward progress going. And most of you, I think, have received your insects in the mail. I hope you have. So I wanted to just talk to you about how to rehydrate these things and how to mount them. It's not super hard. It's just, you got to be okay with bugs, and it just takes a little fiddling around. Let me move some of these things out of here. I had been rehydrating a few just to show you today. And here's the beetle that I've been working on, the unicorn beetle. And he looks kind of black right now, but you'll watch as he kind of gets out of the bin there. You can already see his color starting to return just a little bit. He's kind of a brown or a gray. So we'll leave him sit here for a few minutes. But this is my high-tech rehydrating chamber. It's just a food container. Who knows what it had in it. Probably from Noodles. I do love that place. And all I did was take some paper towels, get them wet, and then wring out as much water as you can. And then I put vinegar on this one, soaked it with vinegar, and wrung out most of the vinegar as well. So they're damp. They're just not wet. You don't want them wet, or else your bugs will they'll get nasty. So I put one down in there. And then I had taken a second one that was wet also, and I didn't put vinegar on this one. You can or you can't. It doesn't matter. Oh, look, his color's really coming back. Boy, that's starting to look really nice. And then just put your insect down in there. So unpack it very carefully, and you'll see the legs are all, let's see if I can get, all kind of folded up. Yours will look something like that, unless it's a butterfly. Then it'll obviously look different. Just put them down in there. And put the other towel, I don't know what that weird noise is in the background, kids are home. Put an airtight lid on it and let it set for at least 24 hours. It might take 2, even 3 days to rehydrate these things. If you are doing a butterfly, what you're going to do, let me grab something here. What you're going to do with your butterfly is, or a moth or anything, is look at it, make sure you're not cutting the butterfly wings, but just carefully snip the corners off. Again, make sure you don't cut your butterfly. You can glue things back together, but it's just never the best. Make sure there's a little air can get in there, and then just lay the butterfly in there with the damp towels, and put the lid on. So we'll go back to this beetle. Let me get this out of the way. And this is a fly, which, I'd ordered this giant blue bee that was supposed to be about that big and probably easy to mount, and sometimes when they're out of things they'll substitute things, and they sent me this annoying little fly. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him. He's really, really tiny, and mounting really tiny things is a pain in the rear. Here's an example of a very tiny thing that we did mount. But you can do it. It's harder. Okay, so first thing, so the beetle. After you've had that in there a couple days, take them out, and what you want to do is just very gently, and you can use your fingers, and if you can see how close I can get, you can get this at an angle where you can see what I'm doing without the light. Maybe you can see that. Oh, there you go. Just very gently, you're going to just pull at these legs, and they can break, so you got to be really careful. And you just honestly got to kind of go back and forth and work them loose. This guy's been in there about 3 days. You could also use a little pair of tweezers or something to help work the legs a little bit loose. But again, you can just be careful you don't break them. I find that when you are using your fingers, you can just a little more sensitive to how hard you're pulling on them. With the tweezers, you can pull a little too hard. And this guy, honestly, I think is going to need a little more time. He's getting soft. You can start to see the leg moving a little bit. But he's not quite there yet. And then this jaw should be able to move, and it's not soft yet. And the wings should, whoa, it's not good for him. And the wings should be able to open. We should be able to get in here right under this wing cover, which is called the elytra. And, oh, there, I felt it move. I can get there a little bit, but I think he needs to rehydrate a little bit longer. There, you can see it cracking a little bit, but you don't want to crack it, obviously. But he's starting to come loose. But so I'm going to rehydrate him longer. I haven't re-wet the towels since I originally put him in there, so I'll probably get a little more water. It smells pretty vinegary, so I don't think I'll put more vinegar in it. But so I will do that a little bit longer. On the really stubborn ones, sometimes you might have to take this and get a cup of just super hot water, not boiling, but just really hot water, and float him. They'll float. Just set him on top of the water for 15-30 minutes and try the legs again. Sometimes the big ones, it takes quite a bit of work to get them rehydrated. Here's one we did a couple years ago in class. And this one did take a while to rehydrate, and I did have to float him. And you see he's got the pin through him, but here's the bottom view. But all these legs were folded up. They're hard as anything right now. But all these legs were folded up when we got them, and the wing was in. But for the beetles, and I like to display them like this, one elytra open and the wing expanded, so you can see what it looks like closed and what it looks like open. And then that helps us reference for the illustration. If I need to draw this, I've got it. If I need to draw this, I've got it. And this one, actually, I'd loaned him out to a student, and the elytra broke off, and I actually super glued it back on. So you can fix them if you break them. It's not ideal, but you definitely can. This grasshopper, you'll see he's missing a leg. I broke it when I was getting him out of the case today. There's his leg. Poor little guy. So I had super glued that back on, and if one of the feet fell off. This guy's had a rough life. He went through a class, and then I inherited him from the student I didn't want to take him with. But he's had a rough life. But anyhow, they can be fixed. Here's another small one. And I'm going to show you how to spread a butterfly here in a second. But this, we did the same as the butterfly. On those, you can go back and worry about the legs. These we did, but the front ones we didn't really worry about because they're under the wings. So, and then this guy, he'd got a little smashed in the packaging, which I was pretty unhappy about. But things do happen, and there's not much we could do. And then there's this little guy, which was kind of fun to do, even though it was kind of a pain. I think you can see these. The camera's not that great. There's these little tiny wing covers, these little tiny elytra in there, and these small, delicate wings. So, anyhow, so the butterfly. Hang on just one second. Okay, the butterfly. When you get ready to do your butterfly, you're going to use what's called a butterfly board. And a butterfly board is just simply this. It's a board with a groove cut out of it. There's directions on the Go Studio for making one, which is pretty much like black foam core that's cut like this. And then you cut two pieces. I'll get my hand out of the way in just a second. you cut two other pieces of foam core, and then you cut another one of these front pieces for the back. So here's the back, here's the front, and then these are the two boards with a little gap in between, and the gap is for the insect's body to go down into the recess. As you can see, if you can see up here, this grasshopper, he can sit down into that groove a little bit, so the wings and the legs can be positioned a little more naturally. But really, a butterfly board is honestly just as simple as this will do the trick. So anything you have around should work. I know it's not ideal. We have some spreading boards for the class that we usually bring in. You can do them there, but obviously we don't have the access to that. So here's a butterfly. Oh, one other thing I did want to say, and there's a leg right there, so one of the legs fell off. Or is it an antenna? No, I think it's a leg. One thing I did want to point out is these little labels that come on your insect. Keep those. You can pull them off before you rehydrate if you want to. This one survived pretty well. Here's the one from the unicorn beetle. Save those. This is going to have the scientific name on it and where it's from, and the identification number from the company, and you'll see in the next video how we're going to ID these. So definitely keep that label. So this butterfly, and I'm going to need a couple pieces of paper. Apologize, apparently I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. Never am. Excellent use of a passport. I need a few strips of paper. That'll do. Okay. Always keep your passport handy in case you gotta tear something. Alrighty. Butterfly. Okay, so here's our butterfly, and these are really delicate. And on one of the videos, if you watched it from the butterfly company, I think I put a link up there. If you she told you to squeeze the thorax, the body there, and the wings will open. I'm just never that lucky. So I would go in with a pair of tweezers if you can, and just spread them. And look how beautiful that thing is. He doesn't look like much on the underside, but once you get him open, this is the blue morpho, I think. I think a couple people had this one. And you can touch the wings. You just want to be kind of gentle. And if you hear anything crack at all, just stop. So, alright. And what we're going to do to pin this butterfly down is once we get them open, we're going to take a piece of paper. I'm going to make it a little thinner. Maybe enough, we'll find out. Come on, you. And gently open that up. Take a piece of paper over the wing. So you don't want to pin right in the butterfly wing. And, you know, for several of the insects, I remembered to tape a handful of pins, like 8 to 12, maybe a few more depending if you had a beetle or something like that. I remember to put some pins in them. And the second batch that I sent out just recently, I forgot to do that. I was putting them together with my kid. I think I was just distracted. And but I'm hoping that you have some straight pins or something around. Staples could work. Paper clips could work for this. You could unroll a paper clip. Oh, that's something else I wanted to show you. Paper clips. Where'd they go? Over here. I'm going to backtrack for just a second. If you want to keep your insect up off the wet towels, You don't really need to, but if you would want to, I just took some paper clips, and if you unbend them in a certain way, you can make these little legs, basically like that, and then it'll prop your insect up off of the paper. And those are just paper clips, but the paper clips could also be used to pin down the paper strips if you needed to, if you didn't have straight pins. So I'm going to pin that, and then you can make adjustments to the wings if you want. And there, open that up just a little bit wider. I'm going to move the pin on that one. So you get them fully opened, so there's just a little bit of a V right here. And this just takes a little bit of, get my hands out of the way, I'm turning this way. This just takes a little bit of playing around. And pin right beside the wing, but not into the wing. And then you see this little V that's kind of left open between the wings. Then we'll come back to this side. I got the whole thing out of whack. Might do two here, one for this and one for the bottom. And, get it just the way you want it, because once this dries out again, it's not going to move. As you see with this dude, just stiff as a board. Once they dry back out, they're not going anywhere. Okay, so there's our butterfly. Look at that, thing's really pretty, isn't it? There's one antenna showing, the other one is missing, which is a little bit annoying. I'm going to take this back off because I want to show you about the beetles, if you do have a beetle, and how to pin the beetles. And since mine is not as soft as I thought it would be yet, let's do that out of the way. And again, you do be careful handling them too much, because you can rub some of the surface of the wings off, and it'll really dull them. They won't be quite as shiny. So I'm going to put that guy back over there. I will try the beetle one more time, but I don't think he's going to budge enough for us to do this. Let's try. And I'm going to get super aggressive with him. Alright, he's not soft enough yet. But so when this beetle was being pinned, there was just a whole lot going on, because there were multiple pins. I probably have some photos. I'll try to get them sent to you guys. There were multiple pins on every leg, holding everything in place. So this dude probably had, a dozen or 20 pins on him, holding everything in place. And what you can do with these, because the legs are going to want to spring back, is you can kind of make an X with these, so you cross the pins. If you can see that, there you go. So one's going one direction, one's going the other. I can give it so you can see it, maybe. But if you can cross the pins and just kind of pin the leg in place, so they kind of go at two different angles, and that'll pin them in place. And again, it'll take a lot. And then this one, we had to get the elytra open, and we had to get the wing extended. And the wing, we actually took and put another piece of foam core under that and pinned the wing down, just like we did with the butterfly. So that is how you're going to pin a beetle. And then when you're opening this, you just gently pull on things, and see what you can get loose. Again, I really want to open this one for you guys, but I'm just afraid I'm going to break it, getting all crazy on it. it goes. Alright, he's coming. The funny thing about these insects is that I won't touch a live one if my life depends on it. That's Rebecca's department, is getting spiders out of the house. So she thinks it's kind of amusing that I do this. But if they're a giant and they're dead and they're kind of cool looking, I will definitely touch them. But live ones, forget about it. Yeah, he's just not going to give up. So he'll have to get more wet. Or she, I don't know. I think I did look that one up and it was a male. Anyhow, I think that's what I needed to tell you about that. Give me just a second and see if I think of anything else. Oh, yes, there were other things I wanted to show you. See, I knew I would think of it. When we get into drawing these, some things that can be really helpful is some kind of magnifying glass. And this is kind of a neat one, and most of you probably don't have this. We had a few in class to use. Everyone, it was on the supply list, but you know, I'm sure you guys didn't get them yet. So you can, when we're doing the drawing, if you can magnify through there, you know how magnifying glass works. You can get a nice close-up look at them. Something else that's really cool that my son and I were doing this morning is I found that you can take your phone, obviously. Let me get it here. And if you go to your camera, put that out there. Let's put this little dude down here. Because when you're getting ready to draw these, you're really going to want to get much closer. It's so hard to grab. Crap. You're going to want to get much closer to get a real good look at the colors and the spots and the legs and how everything works. But you can use your camera if you get some good lighting in there, and you can really zoom in and get very, very close on these. And if you this is just set up on a roll of packing tape. There it go. Oh, that looks really great. You can see really close on that one, and you can move it around. So when you get ready to draw, you can just get in there to look at the detail, because things like the barbs on the legs, they're going to tell you, so within the same family there might be two insects that look really similar to this, but one has 5 barbs and one has 6 barbs. So oddly, that kind of stuff is actually very, very important, and we want to document that for this class. One thing we're going to be doing is taking, I like to work in millimeters, but again, I don't have that here because it's at the, it's in CCAD, locked in a cabinet. Let's try to get him to stand up. Nope. Refusing. Is to take some kind of ruler, and we will be measuring these and making a scaled up drawing of it. So just like we did kind of with the eye, only we didn't look at a real eye, we read about it, but just like you did with the eye, you're going to be scaling this up so it's a perfectly proportional scaled drawing of your insect. And what else? Oh yes, one other thing I wanted to show you is, where did I put it? This office is a bit crazed. How do I lose something that big? The kid must have taken it. Oh man, it really stinks. Hang on one second. Kaya, did you take the microscope? Can I have it back for a sec? No problem, buddy. I was just trying to show my students. Yeah. Alright, he's getting it for us. There's a link I put on Skype with how to build a microscope out of your iPhone. And it's super cool, and the kids and I did it a few years ago. And, you know, the only real special part that you need is the little lens from a little laser pointer. You can probably build the rest of it out of plastic and things that you have. It shows it in plexiglass with these bolts, but you can probably build something almost identical using other materials, which I would be, if you try to build it, I would be really interested in knowing how you did it. But the only one real special thing that you need is the, come on in, bud. There you go, thank you. is the magnifying lens from a, so this is it right here. This is a magnifying lens from a laser pointer. And this little tray down here can be, this is how you focus. It raises and lowers. So if you take and put your camera and get the camera right over that hole. Try again. And that's the tricky part. Here we go. And I put some photos up of the close-up of a, try to focus that a little bit. There you go. I don't know if you, I'm hoping you guys can see that. There is a close-up of that grasshopper wing. Isn't that amazing? So you can get in there and really look at the textures, and that's just your phone with a little lens from a 99-cent laser pointer. And again, you know, I'm not expecting any of you guys to go out to the hardware store. Please don't. But if you got that stuff laying around, it's kind of fun. Not necessary. You can zoom in quite a bit with your just your phone. But this is fun if you're really into making kind of wild, cool, jiggy, kind of steampunky stuff. And I think that was all I had to show you about the insects. There will be a second video. I just want to do the fun stuff first. There will be a second video that talks about the project in more detail. I think that's all. Okay, well, thank you guys. And again, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. We will get through it.